Hello and welcome to Matrix IT's Cybersecurity Fundamentals course. This module is on spear phishing. My name is Frank Fazio and I will be your instructor. Okay, so I've already done a module on phishing. So if you haven't seen it yet, go take a look. In it, we talk about what a phish is and how phishing works, and how that hacker tries to get you to interact with one of his emails or his text messages, but in a general way, right? So he's going to send out a massive amount of emails, trying to hit as many inboxes as he can, and hope that you click on the link. But it's general. He's not targeting you specifically or your company specifically. It's more of a, spray the internet with this email and pray that somebody clicks. Spray and pray, it's called. We also looked at, in that module, we looked at how to take an email and how to look at it and see if it's valid or not, or if it's a phish. We looked at things like who's the email from, where's the email from, are there spelling errors, are there grammar errors, is there a sense of urgency, right? Even signature line, right? Is there a signature line? But the most important thing is we looked at how to tell where a link is going. So when you have a link and it says click me, you don't know where it's going. So we talked about taking your mouse and hovering that mouse pointer over the link, and the system will pop up the line of the URL. It'll pop up the URL and it'll show you where it's going, and then you can tell if you're going off into la la land to give away your passwords, right? So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, now we can talk about spear phishing. Okay, so the difference between phishing and spear phishing, phishing is general, spear phishing is specific, targeted. Okay, so the hacker knows something about you, and he's going to make a nice, pretty email and send it just to you. Okay, based on that information. So we're going to take a look at the definition. Spear phishing. Spear phishing is a cybercrime where a specific target is contacted by email, telephone, or text message by someone posing as a legitimate institution to trick them into providing sensitive data. Operative word. Specific. Okay? It's now targeted towards someone, either to you or to your organization. Okay? Because, I usually give the example. So you're at the bank and you're upset because you've been waiting in line, and you take a picture of yourself, a selfie, at the bank in line, and then, I've been in line, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. Well, a lot of information just got out. All right. So a hacker seeing that information can say, look at that, eh? They're at TD. So they probably interact with TD quite a bit. They probably have a TD account. So I'm going to send a nice email to my target that is just on TD, just to them. Because I know, right? They saw the post, saw the line, saw TD Bank. You put it together, create an email, boom. Target, makes sense to the target. Next thing you know, you're clicking on things. All right? So, spear phishing, targeted. And I use that TD thing because at that point, you're just giving that away. So there are specific types of spear phishes. Spear phishing, whaling. All right. Whaling is spear phishing for executives, the CAOs, the CEOs, the business owners, mayors, counselors, upper management. They're the whales of the company, right? So the mentality there is, as you go higher in a corporation, you get less training, right? And it's true. The CAO or CEO of a company doesn't have time to go train on cybersecurity. They're running a company. So as you go higher, less training, and you also have areas of the network that a regular employee might not have, right? So those two things in combination make those whales very attractive to hackers, right? So that's what whaling is. When it comes to smishing, smishing is that SMS, right? It's the text. We all get them. Your account's been compromised, or you're going to jail because you didn't file your taxes properly. Stuff like that. Don't interact with the texts. Okay, there's no point. Um, During the election, got a lot of, are you going to support this group? Are you going to support that group? You don't interact with them. Okay. I got one the other day saying that I had, what was it? I have a, um, I have a refund on my TELUS. And yeah, I do use TELUS, and it said you have a refund of $127 or something. Click here to get that rebate. Like, that's interesting. Didn't click on it, right? I went to the internet, logged into my TELUS, and I looked through my account, and I didn't get a rebate or a refund. Okay, they charged me too much, they said in the text. Mm-mm. Go to the website, log into the website, then check it out there. Okay. Phishing. Phishing is the voicemail, right? Or voice. We get those voicemails. Oh, you're going to go to jail, just like the text. You're going to go to jail because you didn't file your taxes properly. The other one I got was I was going to be arrested because Canada Post found that I was sending prohibited items through the mail. I'm like, huh? That was a good one. I didn't expect that. Another good one for phishing is when you stay at a hotel. When I do a lot of trainings, I'm constantly traveling. And in the hotels, people have figured out that you can direct dial a room. Usually you would call the front desk, you'd ask, the first specific room number or name, and they would patch you through. Well, there's a way now you can directly call the room. And I remember staying at a hotel, getting a phone call, and it was, oh, this is the front desk. We just want to let you know that the credit card, there was something wrong with the credit card and it didn't go through properly. Can you just read us your card over the phone? And I had known, because I had talked to other people in the hotel, I had known the call was coming and that was fake. And you'd be nice, but you just, oh, you know what? I'm leaving right now to go get something to eat. I'll stop by the front desk and I'll give you the credit card there. And you hang up. Okay. Or you could just hang up if you don't want to be nice. That's what phishing is, right? Now, angling, that's a pretty nifty one. It's when you go out on the internet and you complain about your airline flight, or Purelator didn't come through, or something along those lines. So you put that out there in social media. Let's say you put it on Twitter and you complain about something. Well, normally what happens is the company you're complaining about will see that because you tag them. They'll see that and they'll reach out to you. Okay, so they'll say, "Oh, you know what, Mr. Fazio, sorry this happened. Can you please DM the information?" Well, what's happening now, angling, is you get contacted, but you don't get contacted by the company. So you put this complaint out about, bubble gum, and somebody sees that and then says, "Oh, Mr. Fazio, sorry about that. Why don't you DM us your information?" But it's not the bubblegum guys. It's somebody else. Okay, so you got to be careful because you think you're dealing with the company, or you think you're dealing with the customer service, but it's not. It's just a, a guy, or I shouldn't say a guy, a cyber criminal, that what he's doing is he's angling in before customer service can get to you. All right, so that's what's angling. It's social media, and it's that customer service, trying to get in before the real people get in to help you out. And then you give all the information, the numbers and everything, and then they go and they can manipulate it and get the refunds and all that kind of stuff. So you have to be very, very careful. That's angling. Now, spear phishing, there's a lot of different instances in the news and out there in the wild. Imagine being an accountant, okay, or a tax professional, as it says there in the headline. And your job is to file people's taxes. And you get an email from the Canada Revenue Agency saying your account with us has been locked because of a compromise. Click here to unlock your account. Well, you're going to start freaking out because you can't do your job now, right? And if you're not paying attention to the warning signs, right, like we talked about in the phishing module, checking who it's from, where it's from, spelling and all that stuff, you could easily get clicking into somewhere you shouldn't be, and that's what's happening to the tax professionals. They're being spearphished, okay, and it's working. They get freaked out, and they'll click because they think that they can't file people's taxes anymore, or there's a problem with the CRA. Okay, or even imagine being an ambassador or some sort of official and getting an email from like a major general, and the email states, nice to see you again, or something like that. Here's the year in review, right? I'm sending you a document, and here's the year in review for that official's department, or something along those lines. And that's what's happening, right? A retired major general supposedly was sending emails, and it had attachments in it, and these high-ranking people were clicking on it, thinking that they were actually, being contacted by a real retired major general. Okay, and of course the fake job offer, that's a good one. So imagine being in a company and getting approached on LinkedIn for a job, all right, a job offer, and it's going to pay real well. Compensation is really, really good, and you bite on that, right? So LinkedIn is a place where people connect in the business sense. You put out what you're good at. You put out possibly you're looking for a position. A company reaches out to you, okay, which is completely fake, but you don't know. So a company reaches out to you. You go through some interview process, right? A couple times you go through this. They set up a nice interview for you, and you ask you questions and stuff. Then they decide to hire you. So you get that email, right? You're working on another company, right? You get that email, and it says, we'd like to offer you, a job, and attached is the compensation package on how much you're going to make. So I'm sitting in my company opening up this email, and that email with the attachment, I'm thinking I got a new job. I double click on that attachment, and boom, it lets in the cyber criminals or the hackers, and they started taking control, and they ended up pulling out $600 million because this company had something to do with cryptocurrency or something along those lines. But that person didn't know. She just thought she was applying for a job, and she ended up opening up some doors that she shouldn't have by thinking that the compensation package in that attachment was something she should open. Can't be doing that kind of stuff. Okay, spear. It's very specific targets. That one person that you can find information on. Right? She was looking for a job. Okay. Now, a really cool one was this here. So, the guy's in jail, right? His buddy wants to get him out of jail. So, what his buddy does, we're going to call him the hacker now because he's the hacker. The hacker wants to get his friend out of jail. So, what the hacker decides to do is to infiltrate the prison system computers, right? So there's a whole system that they use on the internet to keep track of prisoners and all that kind of stuff. He's going to hack into it, all right, and he's going to change the release date of his friend. That's how he wants to do it. He wants to log in. He wants to get the release date and change it to a closer date instead of the date previous. And he did it too. He did it. He figured out how to do the whole grabbing credentials, logging in, changing it, and getting out. But when that day came for his friend to be released, the police officers looked at a piece of paper that was printed during booking time of that certain prisoner and what the computer said, and the dates didn't match, right? So you would think the paper's right because it was done. So they started looking at the computer and they ended up figuring out the guy hacked the system and ended up caught. Then the police caught the guy, right? Threw him in jail with his friend. So now he's serving 87 months. So, so the guy wanted to get his friend out of jail, was very successful in changing the date, and then ends up getting caught and being in with his friend. So how did he do it? Okay, so the hacker knew that the municipality, there were a certain number of people that worked in the municipality, just regular workers, but they had access to one of the websites, okay, that was connected to this police website. So what he did was he made an exact duplicate of it. All right, he made an exact duplicate of the website, and he's trying to get the employees to go to that website, because if they go to the fake website, okay, and they put the username and password in the fake website, the username and password goes directly to the hacker. The hacker then takes that information, goes to the real site, and logs in with that information, changes the release date, and then gets out of the system. That's how he did it. So he goes and he tries sending emails to the employees to try to get them to click, to try to get them to install software. Okay, doesn't work like he thinks. He starts calling the employees, and what he does once he calls the employees, he was able to trick a few of them to go to a website and to install software which would give him the information, because he claimed he was from the IT department. So these poor people working at a desk job in a municipality get a call from the IT department. Oh, you know what? You gotta, log into this website, and you got to, install this software. And he tricked a few people into doing it. Okay, and going to this website, the website is a off of this domain here, ewashtina.org. So when he created the fake website and he wanted to get people to it, he named it ewashtina, but instead of a W, he used two V's. Okay, so if you're not careful, you got that looks like a W. So you have to be very, very careful that, if somebody's trying to send you somewhere and you think you're logging into the real site, you're logging into the bad site. Okay, always look at where you're going, because this is going to tell you, okay, that URL at the top. If you think you're on Google, it should say Google. If you think you're on PayPal, it should say PayPal. It shouldn't say anything else. Okay, and he got people now. This situation, or this method, was also used by a grade schooler. He was higher up, so he was probably in grade 7 or grade 8. What he did was he did the same thing to the teachers, exactly like this. So what he did was he knew the website they went to for marks, right? And so he created the same type of website that looked exactly the same, actually, using software just to duplicate it. And he tricked some of the teachers into going to that fake website. And when they did, and they put in their username and password, he got the username and password, or was able to log into the real site and change some of his grades. And he got caught too. Okay, because it's a nice idea, but you've got breadcrumbs all the way through, and they were able to go back and to see, who accessed the system and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was pretty nifty. So that's spear phishing. Like you want to very, very direct, very, you got information, and you're targeting an organization, or you're targeting certain individuals. Okay, so there's a few spear phishing examples I want to show you to get the point across. So we already talked about employment opportunities, but we go out as hackers. They go out to LinkedIn, okay, and they see what you're into, all right, and they know if you're trying to look for a job. and they'll send you a job, um, a job opportunity, and you don't think anything of it, right? Especially with the pandemic, right? A number of people lost their jobs. They were out on LinkedIn, and you're getting these job offers, and they're fake. Award nomination. This is an interesting one because if you win an award, let's say you won an award and pictures got taken of you, you then post those pictures. And if I'm looking at your social media and I see you got an award last year from a specific company, I can now send you an email this year saying, we presented you an award last year. We would like to nominate you for the same award this year. Well, okay, you don't remember you posted that picture, but now you're getting this email saying, oh my God, I'm going to win that award again, right? Because you did win the award. You posted it, and the cyber criminal or hacker picked up on it and sent you a nice email this time saying, you know what? Hey, we're going to nominate you. We need you to click here to start the process of nomination. It's a perfect spearfish, okay? Because it makes sense. It's to one person, and you just don't remember you posted that picture. Co-op, intern, student. I had a manager call me because they had an intern student a number of years previous, and they get an email from this student saying, I was an intern student a number of years ago. I'm attaching my resume. Can you take a look at it for me? And this manager called me. She says, what do I do? I says, well, are you expecting an email? No. Well, can you get by without looking or interacting with it? Yeah, sure. I says, I can scan the attachment for you, but if you don't need to interact, don't interact, right? Because you don't know. It's very easy to figure out through social media if you're an intern student or if you're a manager that had an intern student, right? They publicize that kind of stuff. And so she decided not to interact with it and just let it go. But that's a perfect spear, even if it was valid. That idea is perfect, right? All you gotta do is pay attention to some companies and who their intern students are, and you could easily send something like that to a manager. So be careful when you're getting attachments. Swiss Chalet survey, Domino's, Tim's. Again, when I order Swiss Chalet online, I get a survey right after. How was it? You fill out this survey, you get to have a piece of pie, or you can win a piece of pie. Everybody fills it out. But if I got one of those when I haven't ordered Swiss Chalet, it would not be uncommon for me to say, oh, okay, cool. I did have Swiss Chalet last week. So you have to be very careful. Domino's is another thing. I know a guy who does testing for companies, right? They test their employees. They send them emails to see who clicks. And sure enough, he uses Domino's. Everybody loves free pizza. Okay, send that email from Domino's saying, click here for free pizza. And Tim's, right? If I know you're at Tim's because you take a break every day, I'm going to send you a Tim's email, free coffee, right? You go to Tim Hortons for break. You take a picture of yourself and you post it online. I know you like Tim's. I'll send you a Tim's coupon, right? But it won't be a coupon. It'll be a spearfish, okay? And I like the airbag recall because what happens when you buy or lease or finance a new car? They want to take a picture of you in front of that car and they post it. So now, if I pay attention and I went to a dealership website, I can see you, I can see your car, I know the make, the model, I know the year, I know the color, I could possibly know the license plate. In that case, I could probably get you to click on the link if I sent an email saying, oh, there's an airbag recall on your new 2022 or whatever year it is, blue Audi A6, right? Well, you just bought the car. That makes sense. But you forget that that picture's out there on the internet. So we have to be very, very careful when we're getting emails, and we got to check, just like we did in the phishing module, right? Check those things. Take all those pieces of the puzzle, right, and try to figure out. And if you can't, just, make a call to the dealership. Is there a recall, right? You can do that kind of stuff. Don't get trapped. So let's talk about, at this point, protecting ourselves, okay? Because I've shown you a lot of things that can get you now, okay? I know it's tough, but limit the amount of personal information you post online. I mean, we're online for a reason. We want to share. We want to, have a presence in social media. But be careful what we post. Okay, limit it if you can. All right. When you do get an email, like we discussed in the previous module, you got to make sure that email is legit. Okay, does it look good? Does it make sense? Is there double letters? Is there a letter missing? Is it .net versus .com? That kind of stuff. Okay, and if you do get a something like Netflix, right? You get that Netflix email and it says your credit card's expired. Click here to update your card, or your password has been compromised, or something along those lines. Do not interact with the email. Okay, it's not hard to figure out if you have Netflix, right? And if I know you do, I can send you one. Do not interact with it. Just go right to the Netflix site, log into Netflix, and see if your account's there. Because I got one and said my credit card was expired or something, and if I don't have Netflix in this house, whew, my kids go nuts. So I just went to Netflix and I logged in and everything was fine. Okay. Verify the web address when you're on the internet. We talked about this earlier. If you think you're on Google, it's got to say Google, google.ca, google.com. PayPal is another thing. PayPal.com, PayPal.com/CA or something like that. Make sure it says PayPal. If you're on a PayPal site and it says something at the top that is not PayPal, you're not on the PayPal site. It may look like the PayPal site, but you're not. Okay, pay attention. If you do get a phish at work, report it to IT. All right. A lot of companies are doing tests now. They test you. They want to see if you're going to call the IT department and say, hey, you know what? I got this suspicious email. Maybe other people have gotten it. Always look. If you get something that you know is not good, drop them a line. Okay. Just let them know. And of course, if you do click on a phish, you gotta let IT know immediately. Okay, and I said this in my other module, the phishing module. You gotta let them know. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to just bite the bullet and call. Let them know. They'll probably instruct you to take the cable out the back, the internet cable or the network cable out the back. But you gotta let them know, because if you don't let them know and you've been exposed because you clicked on something, then what's going to happen is it could possibly propagate through the network. And with ransomware, when you watch the ransomware module, it just will start locking up computer after computer after computer until it hits something important like a server. Okay, so just it's going to suck, but you got to call the IT department or who handles your internet or your computers. Okay, so with that, that's the spear phishing module. As always, stay safe and stay frosty, and we'll see you in the next module.